up, you guys, and welcome back to So by Gigi 101. And today is Tuesday, and you know what that means. It is time for another recap, review, whatever, of Pretty Little Liars. Oh yeah, it's happening. It's going down the DMs tonight, because you know what? Tonight was a really good episode. And if you're not following me on Twitter, okay, you need to be, because my Twitter be blowing up for Pretty Little Liars, all right? So you need to be following me on Twitter every Tuesday for the next 8 weeks. After that, I don't know what I'm going to do. I will probably go back to Once Upon a Time reviews. I haven't decided yet. Anyway, before we get into tonight's episode, it is very, very, very important that we do a very, very small, minuscule recap of last week's episode. So, let's begin. So last week's episode ended with Spencer playing the game, the Jumanji game, that was presented to them after having one too many glasses of wine and feeling sorry about not knowing her real life and completely negating the fact that even though she doesn't know her real mother, she was loved by someone who loved her equally, if not more. You know, whatever. And she decided to play the game that they all agreed not to. So this whole entire episode, which is why I had to reiterate that, is to say that this whole entire episode was about pushing all the rest of the girls to have to play the game. And that started off with Emily. Emily was the first person that got pushed to play the game. We will go back to Spencer a little bit later because Spencer really wasn't connected to the game in this episode. So basically we were introduced to this girl named Addison Deranger. I'm Arlena King is really poetic, okay? She is a literary genius because this new girl's name is Addison Deranger. What kind of a person do you think this girl is? Because she is a girl. She is a student at Rosewood High. She is one of Emily's swim team students. So what kind of student do you think she is? I'll give you a second to think about it. In fact, pause the video and put it down below who you think she is. Good. Did you do it? Did you do it? Good. Did you guess that she was the new Allison De Laurentiis? You're right. Vanna! What did they win? Nothing? Okay. You'll be fine. You had nothing before this video. You have nothing now. Okay. So, she overhears a conversation between Emily and Paige in the locker room, but because she doesn't know their history, she kind of just, and it sounded really wrong without knowing their history, she obviously took that to her advantage, and she begins to try and blackmail Emily, okay? And she was going to get Emily fired by accusing Emily of being inappropriate with the girls on the softball team, which makes her not only a pedophile, but a lesbian pedophile? I guess that's how you would word it. I'm not 100% sure, but we'll go with that. So, Allison has come to the determination that the only way to beat this little girl is to play the game. And thus, AD has now dragged Emily into this game. Did I say Allison had decided? Emily had decided. Let's talk about how poetic, again, I'm Arlena King is. Just a little bit of history if you are not familiar with history. So AD, okay, stands for after death. Charlotte was A. Charlotte died. And now the new A is AD. Marlena King, you are a literary genius. Just needed to throw that in there. So that's what happened to Emily. So now they got Emily in the game because Emily has decided to play the game. And what A gave Emily was blackmail footage of this little Addison Deranger girl, okay, who is Addison Deranger. And basically got Addison in trouble by lying and writing an email on the school's computer from Addison's account saying how she was bragging and gloating about getting Emily kicked out of the job. And Addison was like, I didn't do that. And you could tell on her face that she genuinely meant it. And all I could think of was, good for you, you little hooch magooch, okay? Because nobody plays with the liars but A and AD and Uber A. It's been so many A's. But yeah, so as you know from the last episode, when you play the game and you complete a task, you get a puzzle piece. So Boom shakalaka. So Emily got a puzzle piece. So that was pretty much the end for Emily. Let's talk about Aria. So Aria wasn't too big in this episode. Basically, she was leaving Ezra's apartment and she gets kind of ambushed by this reporter who is writing an article and wants to talk to Ezra about being reunited with his fiance. So, of course, Aria's like,
Nicole isn't his fiance. Who said that? I'm his fiance, and he's not here.
So, of course, you know, that leads her off on a ranch, and she ends up going to Holden. If you don't know who Holden is, just refer to last week's video, because I really don't feel like going over that right now. But she goes and sees Holden, and she spends the day with Holden, and Holden pretty much is trying to talk her into not doing anything stupid, because Aria isn't telling him what's going on with Ezra, but a news article comes up showing Ezra and Nicole holding each other and taking pictures in New York and talking about the engagements back on and blah, 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 blah. And Aria puts the phone down to go grab her bag, and Holden happens to see it, and, you know, he's like, you know, just don't do anything rash. And so Aria was going to go visit Nicole in her hospital to do exactly what, I'm not 100% sure, but Holden followed her and stopped her. So I don't really know what Aria planned on doing. But like I said, this episode wasn't too much about Aria. So before I can talk about Hannah, I have to tell you that Jenna Marshall returned because she went missing after the shooting. So we didn't see her in the first episode of the 10. So she's back now. And we know that she is working with AD. And she is part of Endgame. And this girl is a real sociopath. Like, I mean, for real. She shows up at the police station to talk to Detective Fury. Another poetic strike of genius, Marlena. And Spencer is there, and she says, I mean, has no one ever noticed that Jenna always plays the victim? I'm not trying to downplay what Allison did. What Allison did was horrible. Okay? What she did was horrible. However, she did not know that they were in there, so she didn't maliciously throw the cherry bomb in to attack them. She threw them in thinking that it would just be a regular firecracker, like one of those little pop rock ones that would just blow up and like nothing serious would come of it. But I mean, Jenna Marshall has just been out for blood, but I mean, I kind of can't blame her because homegirl is blind because of that prank. I mean, if you think about it, Pretty Little Liars is what started the excessive prank wars here on YouTube. They were the creators. Thank you. So she is back and she's playing, you know, victim to everything. Now you're probably wondering, well, how does that tie into Hannah? Well, this whole entire episode was about Mona getting Hannah to let this girl, Kate, wear this one particular dress that she wanted. And Hannah was so adamant about her not wearing it. And at first, you know, we didn't know why. She wasn't saying why. We thought maybe it had something to do with maybe the dress didn't belong to her. Maybe AD made the dress and Hannah didn't want her to have credit. But we found out that it was a dress that Hannah made, but she made all the adjustments according to Claudia, who was her former employer when she was an intern in New York in that fashion company, okay? And she didn't want the girl to wear this dress. She didn't want the girl to like that dress because she knew it wasn't 100% her design. It wasn't. And she knew, like, she just felt fraudulent about this girl wearing it. And she was just like, oh my God, why that one? Can she not wear anything else? And so finally, Mona, with the help of Caleb, actually convinced Hannah to let the girl wear the dress. And basically, Jenna Marshall walks in wearing the same exact dress but in white. And Jenna's blind, so Jenna doesn't know what she's wearing. She just knows that it's a gift. When they confront her, she says it's a gift. They said, from who? She's like, none of your business, because of course Mona and Hannah were together at the Radley Inn and spotted, and Hannah was mortified, but Hannah can't say anything because she knows that's all part of the game. And she knew at that moment that AD was trying to pressure her into playing the game and she didn't want to fall victim. But Mona, being Mona frickin' Vanderwall, was like,
I don't care. If you don't want to ask her, I'm going to ask her. Hello, Jenna Marshalls, whatever your name is. I don't care about your entourage. I want to know where you got the dress.
homegirl's blind. She don't know where she got the dress. She just put it on. So she said it was a gift, and then Hannah had shoes that she was being fixed in Philadelphia, and they went to go get the shoes, and they saw that Jenna was there, so she thought Jenna was going to steal the shoes. So Caleb was like, let me talk to her, and Hannah just doesn't listen. So Caleb got out the car to go approach Jenna Marshall, and while he did that, Hannah snuck into the shoe shop, which was obviously closed. Nobody was in there, and she gets locked into the cage. First of all, I don't even understand. It was pitch black. There was clearly nobody in there. So why would you go in there? Did you not learn your lesson? It has been how many seasons? And you still haven't learned your lesson. You're still going into dark places. You're still creating situations for yourself. All you had to do was just stay in the car. And if you went in and you saw that the lights were off, why would you turn them on and call the owner? If the owner was in there, he would not be sitting in the dark unless the owner is Dracula. What is wrong with you? So I didn't even feel bad about Hannah. But then she started getting PTSD in the cage from when she was locked in the barn. And Caleb ultimately found her hovering in the corner. And right before Caleb came in, she got a text message from AD that says,
wait your turn, B.I.Y. Okay? And when it is your turn, you'll be ready. I promise you that. Yeah.
AD was getting hood. AD was getting gangsta. AD was acting like she was a member of the Bad Girls Club. Okay? That's what was going on. So, that was Hannah's story. So, we went through Emily, Aria, Hannah. Allison, there really wasn't anything to say. She's still a pity party about carrying, the baby of the devil. She's carrying Hades' baby. See, Zelina, Hades didn't disappear. He just impregnated Allison. P.S. Still think that it's somehow Emily's baby. Just saying. So let's go over to Spencer, my favorite character, what was going on with her. So Spencer actually went to go see Detective Fury, and as we know, that's when we saw Jenna Marshall for the first time. And she pretty much was like, you're a liar, you're a sociopath, and you need to not. You need to get over it, you need to let it go. And Detective Fury kind of senses that Spencer isn't telling him the complete truth and is like trying to probe her with more questions, like, is there something you want to tell me? He was 100% direct with how he asked her. Veronica decides that she is going to sell the house. Spencer is still very mad at Veronica. Her father has not come home. He thinks her father is avoiding her. She's like, your father will be home Thursday, which, as you know, we won't see him Thursday because the show doesn't come on Thursday. So, meaning he should be back by next episode. She questions if Melissa knew. She's just feeling a certain type of way, as anyone would feel if you were to find out that the family you thought was your family wasn't really your family. Even though it really is, but more so that your mother who you thought was your mother wasn't your mother. I mean, Veronica and Spencer never had a super close mother-daughter relationship because of the dynamic of their family just being so business focused and so win-win-win, goal kind of oriented. However, they did have a mother-daughter relationship that was normal to them. And now all of a sudden they find out, like, well, Spencer finds out you're not my mom. So it's really hard for her to connect to her, especially being, and she brought this up, being that Mary Drake was in Radley and Spencer spent time in Radley, because Veronica brought up Radley first. She was like, how do you think it made us feel to see you go in Radley? She was
Like, but at least you got to leave at the end of the day. I still had to stay there. And now to find out that there's more about it, more to it than me just having a mental breakdown.
I mean, you can't be mad at Spencer for feeling the way that she feels. So, yeah. So Veronica decided that she was going to sell the house, and that was it. So I'm hoping that we'll see the return of Melissa in the next 8 episodes. So that was really the episodes, that was really tonight's episode in a nutshell. My overall consensus, this was definitely a better episode than the first one. Like I said, the first one just happened so quickly, whereas this one, I don't want to say it dragged on, but it was worth the full hour. Like, I felt like I watched it for a full hour instead of thinking, oh my god, I just watched 5 minutes of a show, because they jammed all kinds of information into the first episode. You know what I mean? This is a really good episode. I really can't wait to see what is going to happen. And I'm kind of thinking about maybe having a Pretty Little Liars finale party. Low key, I think that you guys should do it yourselves, Pretty Little Liars people, and let, reviewers like myself come in and talk about, what we thought, how we felt, how we feel about the show coming to an end, and what we hope for the future. Like, do we think there's going to be a spinoff with Addison Deranger? Okay, maybe her being a new Allison De Laurentiis and a new start, a new dawn of A. You know, I think that you guys should do that. But it's a bittersweet next few weeks, you guys. Bittersweet. So if you saw this episode, definitely leave it in the comments down below and tell me what you thought. Let's start an open discussion. Let's all come together and talk about the ridiculousness of Pretty Little Liars. Because I'm not going to lie, when Hannah went into that cage, it pissed me off so bad. Because it was like, how many times, Hannah, do you have to go into a dark cage and be locked in before you realize it is a mofo trap? You guys, I'm getting hot just thinking about it. I got to turn on my fan. It's getting hot. Hannah, you making me hot. You and this dang ring light making me hot. But that's all for this episode. So if you enjoyed this episode and you want to see more recap reviews or whatever, so if you just want to see more from me and what I produce, then you definitely need to be part of the GG My Summer Pod and come swimming with us on all our adventures. How might you do that? You're probably asking. Well, it's simple. All you have to do is rate, comment, subscribe, and share, because sharing is caring, and I'll be seeing you in my next video. Loves and likes ya. Bye!